So this is my final video for CIS 5 programming, and this is a food truck, the final is, and I have up here the commented out part, pretty much the standard, my name, class, time, or date, and what the project is, and the bugs. And even though this is technically not really a bug, even because everything else works and it's more like a appeal kind of thing, is that the receipt at the end will, like, sometimes the cost, I'll show you right now, but the cost of it will vary, kind of, not cost, how its output is varied depending on how large the name is, and we'll get to that. So we have my standard declared libraries. I have iostream, string, and I don't know how to pronounce that. I also have namespace, and my only global constant variable is the tax, and I have two structures. The first one is for the item, and I have the item name, description, price, add-on price, like add-on's name, and the add-on's cost. And in the second one, it's used to keep track of what the item I purchased is and what the item price is. For example, a hamburger, and like how much it costs, and it adds to the total for the receipt later. I have all my prototypes right here, and I have my main function. So starting off with the main function, I have my declared variables. Here, let me write that. And I also have using my very first function, which initializes all the variables from before into their thing. So right here you see we have declaring as a hamburger, this as the description of it, the cost, and the add-on's name, and the cost for all the add-ons, and for every single item we have. Over here, let me close out that. We start off with, here, I'll move this over here just to make it look nicer. We have our do while loop, and we have our second function that displays the main menu, which is over here. And if we actually run that, we start off with our pop-up food truck menu. So right here, alright, it'll ask me for my choice and store that choice, and then this is also our first use of the is valid thing, where it'll check whether or not it's valid. So over here, alright, let's say I put 5, it will be valid. Invalid choice, please choose a valid option. And it goes us back in the menu, so I can put whatever number, and it won't do anything until we do a valid number. So let's say we select 1. So over here, we select 1, and that shows the menu. So our menu is in this function. So let me close this. So our menu. So it looks very basic, right? Because it takes off of the initialize menu function, and it just multiple loops inside of each other. So the first one here is that we have hamburger. Hamburger, basic stuff. It displays it using the variables from the initialize menu. Then afterwards, since we see everything we have, I'm going to go into order items. So we have hamburger, cheeseburger, hot dog, fries, and soft drink. And, sorry about that. Well, select right here. Let's say I want a very basic hamburger. Very pricey, actually. Inflation is crazy. So I choose bacon as my second one. Or I can choose 0 for none, but something very basic, something nice. It'll cost $7.07 or 70 cents. And I would like to order another item, let's say for example a drink. So I'll just do something very basic also, a Sprite, and I won't like to order any more items. So I would like to check out. And before we get to checkout, let me show you the function for the items, or what we just ordered, the order menu, which is what it shows right here. So asking for the item that we want to choose. Then afterwards it calls for a function, which is function for the add-on, which is down here, where it calls for, well, just the add-ons. Add the price to everything, and then return it back into the function. So all the math, if we want to buy it, this is without add-on, this is with the third add-on, this is the second add-on, or, yep. And this is to check if you chose a valid choice. Same with the same is valid over here, to see if you got a valid choice. Afterwards, I'll ask you if you like to loop it like we did over here, and how I answered yes or no, or Y or N for yes and no. And if it's yes, this is another while loop to check if it's valid. If it's anything other than those two, it will not be valid, and it will ask you to enter a valid choice. And this will keep running if the choice is equal to Y. That's why it kept pulling up the same food menu over and over again if I press Y. But it goes back to the main menu if I press N for no. And my last function is the checkout one, which shows our table for the itemized receipt. I'll show you right now what that looks like. All right. Oh. So as you can see right here, everything works just about right, except for the, like I said before, the minor bug, how everything isn't lined up properly. If well, if the name is different, and I don't understand exactly how to fix that, since the name can vary depending on person to person. If whatever they want to buy, if they want to buy something with, for example, want to buy a drink with Sprite, it's a longer name than hamburger with bacon. The very last function I have right here is the the is valid one, the bool is valid, and it's very basic. It's just an if else statement, whether or not, or if the input is between 1 and 5, right, or if it's equal to 5, etc., etc. And if it's anything else, it'll return false, which means it won't loop again, or it'll be incorrect and it will run the inside prompt. So that concludes my program. Right, I hope this will get me high enough to get a B in this class, as it took me a lot of time. I'm very grateful for the extension date to Friday, because I definitely needed that time to go over, especially my table, which is the hardest part, I feel like. Or besides the table, it was figuring out how to do all these loops. But yeah, that concludes my my program.